folks. Welcome to Monday, September 29th, Techthusiasm Live podcast. Should have a fun one today. Did a ton of stuff in and around the systems over the weekend, particularly yesterday, Sunday. Pretty much spent the majority of my Sunday working in the storage room on the rack with my son, preparing for the next phase of the living room project. The demolition phase will be starting tomorrow, actually. Actually watched movies, some good content and stuff this past week, and had a good time. So hope everybody else did as well. So as you're coming in, pop a message in the chat. Let me know who's out there. Say hello. I see Julius already. Welcome Stephen as well. Yeah, hope everybody had a good weekend. It's my dad's birthday over the weekend. Spent some time with him and gave him a Techthusiasm home theater experience. Talk about that in a minute. And then, yeah, a lot of working around the weekend and time with friends and family and all of those things. So project is the project is underway, fully in earnest now. So yeah, as I mentioned, so my dad's birthday, Superman's his favorite superhero, and I happened to grab Superman on Kaleidoscape $14.99 sale. So I was curious to watch it because I've seen some I don't know what the right word is, some consternation over, I guess, around home theater discussion, home theater YouTube. Is the sound in Superman any good or not? And I thought it was pretty good. So, but we had a good time. I hadn't really had a chance to demo the theater. I don't think my parents actually either. My in-laws are. They've had some demos in here, but never actually sat down and watched the movie. So Saturday after daughter's soccer game, they came over and he and I sat down here for the movie. So checked out Superman. I thought it was really good. I think that movie holds up on second viewing. I liked it in the theater, and I think it was even better in the second viewing. I appreciate the casting a little bit more. I think the characterization a little bit more. And I thought it looked great on Kaleidoscape. Not as good as like Minecraft still is like the best looking movie I think that I've seen this year, just in terms of like visual fidelity, clarity, detail, and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought Superman held up really well, and the audio was excellent. I think from the beginning opening scene where he crashes down, and then he goes flying away. The big battles with the Hammer of Barovia, and then the Kaiju, and then onward into some of the other battles towards the end. My room was doing work in the bass. It was doing work. I probably noticed the bass a lot. Overhead surround sound effects. Yeah, they just kind of come and go, and I don't have a way to necessarily measure and present them. But again, I've been seeing some debate over whether Superman has good sound or not. Does it have bass? And they're presented with bass in my room. The other movie that we watched this past week, finally, we've really been jonesing to watch it, was Bad Guys 2. Bad Guys 2 was absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend this movie series, but not even just the movie series, the book series. If you've got, maybe like a late single digits to not quite teenager or so, even they rate the movie 6+, but I think I might skew it a little bit older as the real target audience. But the books are absolutely fantastic, just absolutely like bat bleep crazy. It's like a 20-book series, paperbacks, and it goes all over the place. Really, really funny. And they're not doing the books to the letter in the movies, but what they've taken from the books and the way they've kind of adapted it into the movies, and it's already set up basically at least for a third one, is pretty great. So I thought this looked great as well. Of course, it's animated. It's got kind of that new like cell shady kind of animation look to it. But man, this movie moved the theater. I was getting downright scared. Actually, I don't think Kaleidoscape shows us. Yeah, it doesn't show us the scenes. But there was a couple of scenes. The beginning was awesome. The heist of the car and the escape in the car brought a lot to the table. But if you have this movie, if it's marked and the scenes are not a Kaleidoscape, or just jump there if you have the disc, go to the shuttle launch sequence. It's maybe about halfway or so through the movie, maybe almost into the back third. of it. But in any case, the characters, um, there's a shuttle heist, or a space shuttle being heisted by the bad guys, bad girls characters, and then the bad guys need to basically get on the shuttle and try to stop it, ride it into space. And that launch, man, there I was afraid that the room was coming down. It was and intense and thorough, and long, just a really long scene of that shuttle rumbling, and taking off, and separating, and all that stuff till they get out into space. So I was digging that a ton. Can't recommend it enough. Again, especially if you've got some smaller kids, watch the movies and then go read the books, because I think you'll have a great time. The book series is ended. There are some spin-offs and stuff as well, but the core book series is 20 books. They're just small little paperbacks. It's not even expensive to get them. They're in black and white, but I think they've been reprinting them in a colorized version as well. At least some of the first books. But yeah, that's definitely a movie that I've been waiting to see for a while, and we haven't been able to get the family together to sit down and watch it, and it finally worked out over this past week. So I was really digging on that, and yeah, and Superman. I was super happy with Superman, but that experience was more about doing it with my dad as well. So appreciated being able to show off the system to him and have him kind of see the experience and feel the fruits of all of the all the labors of the the work and the effort and stuff behind what I put into this hobby, and then building up the channel and the business and all these different things. So he was digging it. He was really impressed and proud. So happy that I saw a thing on Instagram the other day. It was basically a comment about somebody, a man, and then his father passing away, and essentially like, one of the people, hopefully this is the experience for most everybody out there, right? But one of the people in the world that, like, just absolutely wants the best for you, and it has pride in you as a person and what you do, right? And the goal of, I think, any father is wanting to see their kids grow and go forward and surpass and all of that stuff. So I felt good anyway to hang out and do that with him in here. I caught up on some other stuff as well. I caught up on Peacemaker Saturday night, I think it was. So I was 2 episodes behind on Peacemaker. Peacemaker is I'm really digging Peacemaker as well. Um, and then the latest episodes. I don't want to spoil too much because it was only last Thursday that the last one came out, and it was the end of the very last episode from last week that had like the big twist in it. But I will spoil, there is a villain appearance from the new movie, so they're starting to tie stuff together a little bit more. This whole like this new DC universe is feeling a little bit more cohesive, and I think the from the ending of Superman to the appearance in Peacemaker will further lead into now what happens in Peacemaker uh, around this character will lead into the next Superman movie as well. But the big twist, the big twist of the like other dimension kind of finally came out. It caught me by surprise as well. I admit I didn't see it. I did not see it transpiring as I was watching the show. Kind of had to know or expect that there was going to be something kind of off, off key or off um, about the other dimension, and kind of the stuff going on there, and the characters. But I think they pulled a really cool. I think they pulled a really cool twist between uh, one world, one dimension seeming like a utopia, but it not really being a utopia for certain reasons. But the failings of one dimension are kind of the reasons of, um, almost like the reasons of the success slash the failings of the other dimension. So I'm really digging that show and what they're doing with the DC stuff right now. Highly recommended. Just obviously very adult oriented there. And then my son and I too, we finished up the entirety of the original 1990s X-Men cartoon. So he's primed now. We're ready to do X-Men 97. And I just saw some other stuff on social media this past week as well about X-Men 97 season 2 getting prepared, and it's going to be like serious content. I hope it's actually not too mature. Marvel's going a little more mature as well now. Like Marvel Zombies is, I think, a higher age rated. so that might not be appropriate to watch with my youngest. I hope they don't go too crazy with um, X-Men 97 season 2 though, because I'm eager to rewatch number 1. I think that's some of the best animation. Is just like X-Men was like my thing as an original like grade schooler up into like teenage years or whatever. It was like Wolverine, the X-Men, the comic book stuff that got me into pop culture and comic books and all of that to begin with. And so they did just such a fantastic job on 97. I can't wait to see what they do to follow that up. But I really want to share it with my son, and I don't want to have to wait until he's older to do so. So hopefully that ends up working out. Um, so yeah, so that was a fun, actually, a pretty content filled week, which I haven't been able to have a ton of lately. So now that the living room's down, I'll probably end up slowing down on some of my like casual watching and some of our series watching and stuff. But the theater is online, so over the next couple weeks, while the project kicks off upstairs, we will be able to come down here and use the system in its entirety. That was one of my goals for the re-rack, was to essentially get everything prepped to both serve the installation of the living room system as as the project moves forward, but have this room fully functional and fully online. So we were able to accomplish that yesterday. So I put up a couple pictures on the channel and on IG yesterday, kind of about basically about what we did, the work we did, and everything. And I'm pretty happy with the results. So that was one of my main topics for today. Just kind of share that experience and some of the lessons learned, show it off a little bit. There will be a vlog, so we did film what'll basically be vlog number 2, project vlog number 2, which will be the re-racking, and already started on vlog number 3, which is the demolition, which with what I thought was one of the funnest, most fun, I think maybe, and coolest starts of a video that I've had on the channel yet. So look to the beginning of vlog number 3 for hopefully something kind of funny and unique and interesting, and hopefully entertaining as well. So I just hit a couple comments. Debanez Bravia 82 is coming in tomorrow. Awesome, love it. I had some significant progress on the television selection likelihood for the living room as well. I'm just going to tease that for right now. Maybe we'll come back to that topic a little bit later as well. Steven's saying, throw out Lethal Weapon. Ooh, Lethal Weapon is best looking of the year. I know it's a re-release, but if we're talking best picture of the year at home, that's up there. I haven't watched the re-release of that yet. We have been watching re-releases, let's say this year, like this quarter-ish, of some stuff with Ferris Bueller and then Karate Kid, like 4K updates and to those films. So digging on some of the old content for sure, sharing that stuff with the kids. But Lethal Weapon's not on the watch list yet. But I still, yeah, to me, Minecraft just looks so clean. It was like looking out a window. I just don't know why every movie doesn't look like that. Julius, is your father into technology? What kind of system does he have? He is. He likes TV. He likes movies and stuff as well, but he doesn't really have much of a system. Just a good sized flat panel. I did set him up along along the birthdays and Christmases. He's got a Sony soundbar set up with the subwoofer and stuff. So that's good for them. All right, let me share this. Excuse me. Try to bring these windows down a little bit so I can kind of see everything at the same time and talk through a little bit about what we did in the rack. Yeah, it was fun. So yesterday, let me remove this share and put up another screen share. Yeah, this one. Okay, so there's the new rack. That's the setup as it is right now in there. So we worked on this. My son and I. He worked with me. It was work, so it wasn't just like he wasn't just recruited. This is business. That's what I was trying to tell my wife. Like, we're not. This isn't just hobby for us. Like, now this is business. We're building these systems. This is going to be an experience center. This theater is already a demonstration room and it's an experience center. It's our room as well. We love it. We use it, enjoy it. The living room, the same thing. I want to be able to have both of these luxury, really high end uh, areas and systems for ourselves, but for the channel and for people to be able to come over and demo stuff and get enthused and excited to consider what they could do in their own spaces and stuff like that. So so he was working. He made some money yesterday um, as a Techthusiasm employee. But in any case, so we did it all 7 hours. We got started about 11 a.m. and we were done. I think it was about 7 hours. We were done right about 6. I think I was filming the final like vlog closeout piece towards about 6 o'clock. So and we pretty much used the entire time. He was with me probably 90% of it as well. My wife helped a little bit as well. One of the things we tried to do is not like I didn't want to deconstruct everything and then reconstruct it. So there's stuff that we were able to like successfully move without disconnecting a whole bunch of things, particularly like the home theater gear and the audio gear, because stuff just really kind of needed to shift, right? Shift up and down a bit. Um, so he did all that rack work, taking things out, putting things in, prepping things to go in, and kind of setting up all the structure of that, and then a bit of the wiring as well. Once I got to the wiring, and I was particularly spending more time just behind the rack. There's not a lot of space back there, and I think he's got some time before he really needs to get into the finer details of like that part of learning the stuff. So I did a good bit of that myself, but he popped back in a little bit later in the afternoon, just about actually at the perfect time because I was starting to rewire and rerun some of the network cables and stuff. So I was able to kind of like stand in the back and then pass the cables through. Um, so he could grab them and hook up the patch panels and make the connections and stuff like that. So, but we accomplished everything that we set out to do. Uh, Ultimately, was accomplished here, and it worked. Minus no real snafus, but a couple of minor um, couple of minor things that we just worked around. So again, we took out the source equipment from this like right hand side upper middle section in order to shift everything up, put the drawer on the bottom right. Sources went in the upper left, and then took out some of the prior living room servicing equipment, got the second M23 set up there, the new watt box configuration, and then the left side was kind of pushed down, the right side was kind of pushed up to make the space for, make the space for everything. And yeah, it worked out great. So we started on the right. We pulled the Kaleidoscope and the Apple TV and the shelf and stuff out. And then that's where I needed my wife because she was kind of standing in the front. I was standing in the back, and we needed to move everything from like the vent above the Mad VR needed to go up like 3 units. So um, she was holding the front, I was holding in the back. My son would unscrew it, we'd hold it, we'd lift it up, hold it in that position, and then he'd zip it in. And then go to the next one, put the vent panel in, go to the next one, put the vent panel in. So I did not have to disconnect all the speaker cables, all the XLR cables and stuff like that. Didn't change the network stuff, only moved the NAS up. So thankfully none of that stuff had to be like rerouted or remanaged or anything. And then pop the drawer right out and put it out over here on the bottom, uh, making it again much better. And it really cleaned up a lot of the wiring, actually kind of consolidating stuff the way we did. So it's a lot cleaner in the back. I'll kind of show that off. I took some like kind of videos as well to kind of show it off. So down here on the bottom, the watt boxes, I really like this change. I think this was definitely a change for the improvement. Um, I filmed like an unboxing overview kind of thing about these Wattbox units. These are the 820 rack mounts. They're 8 outlets on the back, 20 amp models. And so the bottom one is plugged into the UPS and the top one is plugged into the wall. So the top one has the amplifiers plugged into it. The bottom one has the vertical strips plugged into it. So basically the processors, the computers, the networking equipment, the source equipment, the Kaleidoscopes, the Apple TV, all of that stuff is running through that watt box and then through the UPS. So it's great though. Seeing the readouts, seeing the data on the front, having some accessible plugs and ports on the front of the rack as well will be convenient going forward. And then The sources section, I think this looks really cool. So um, the Apple TV shelf worked out really nicely for the most part. I mean, it fit in there nice. I like the way that they kind of present, kind of poking through the front a bit there. You can see the lights, so you know whether they're on or off at least. You can get these shelves with patch panels and stuff as well for the network. So, like, if you need to route the network around to the front and take it somewhere else, you can. Excuse me. I didn't need mine to do that. The one thing I found though with this shelf that I bought, so this came from the UK. It was like from a place called like Pure, I think it was Pure Theater. It's about 150 bucks for this shelf. It was metal. I wanted it to be metal. I didn't want one of the like plastic Etsy ones. And I also wanted it to be a little dynamic just because we kind of all expect that very likely the new Apple TV unit may be coming out, and there may be a new Apple TV unit in October or sometime soon, let's say even within the next couple of months or maybe into the beginning of next year if we don't get it this fall. But I don't think the form factor will change that much. But this shelf has like a retention bar across the top, and I can never really get it as tight as I might want it to be. So what happened was if you disturb the cables or anything in the rack, the Apple TVs in the shelf location would actually shift. And so it's like I'd have to go around and kind of reach up there. This is a very hard shelf position to get into. I think the shelf could have also been maybe like a couple inches, 4 or 5 inches less deep than it is. It didn't need to be as deep. And it would have made getting access to the back of the Apple TVs on the shelf a little bit better. But it worked out fine. Again, as I move stuff around or I work in the rack, the last thing that I'm just going to have to remember to do is reach up on that shelf and like just push the Apple TVs forward and try to lock them in as best I can, and then it'll work out fine. The Kaleidoscapes, that's the two Strato E's. So I made the swap, took out my V, and standardized now on two Strato V's. They look really nice in the rack there side by side. I think the E's a great player. I think it's the player to buy in the lineup now. You can't go wrong at $3,000 versus 4 grand for a C or 4,500 list price for a V anymore. And then of course the Terra server is in there as well. And I've got the room to um, move this unit and this unit right below it to a full size 2U Terra server if and when I feel inclined to do so. I wouldn't mind moving up to at least like a 48 terabyte unit. I think that would be an awesome amount of space. I'd pretty much, even though my library is much larger than that, I think with 48 terabytes, I would be able to keep a lot of favorite movies and full series actually available to watch at any time. So we'll see. At some point, very likely to happen. One thing that didn't work out actually, so the Apple TV shelf was a little bit challenging. Didn't quite snug everything in as well as I had hoped, but at the end of the day, it did the job that I wanted it to. Um, the other thing that didn't work out was I had planned that this unit here and this unit here were going to be a 2U vent, just like these vents here. But yeah, just like these vents. So this one and this one would have been, or I'm sorry, this one and then this one would have been a double vent. It would have covered the front of the STR a little bit. But the problem that I encountered was if I push the STR all the way back so that the feet are touching like the back lip of the shelf, because the STR, it doesn't have a flat face. Earlier Anthem gear like this one, the glossy black side is flat, but the other side, like, it bows out a bit forward. And so the bottom lip of the vented panel was impacting the very front edge of the STR, even with the STR pushed all the way back. So if the STR had a flat face, it would have worked fine. But as it was, I couldn't bring the vent panel um, all the way down to touch right here. So I had to give up on that. So I have an extra 2U vent panel that I didn't end up using. I may go ahead and get a 1U vent panel just to put here, or I might just leave it, I guess, the way it is. Conceivably, if I end up doing the 2U Terra, that would still be these two units, and then I just replace this with a double rather than the two singles. But for now, because I'm like, well, I'm not sure what I might do with that section, we just put all single panels in, and then if I want to pull something out or swap it, I have the flexibility to do it as well. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm really happy with the result. It was a fun time. Again, fun time with my son. Getting it, and I took a little bit of video. Let this video kind of play. Um, should we mute here? So, oh, actually, this will be the short. But so when I put up the vlog, I'll put up this little short, kind of showing off the rack with it, and refer back to the video. So yeah, but it looks fantastic. It looks spectacular. Best it's ever been. It looks so clean. It looks so like designed. It looks very pro. I think it looks very pro. Um, Especially with the custom shelves and all that stuff. The other thing that I really like to try to do maybe at some point would be, uh, from some place in the UK, you can order custom shelves for the NAD amplifiers as well, but they're not exactly cheap, unfortunately. So I've held off on ordering those. It's like a few $100s, I think, a piece, and I've got 4 of the amps. It's like, do I really need to spend like 1,200 bucks on shelves? It would look nice. It would make the unit stick out at its face, and all that, but I don't think I will. Um, I don't think I'll bother, probably with those. The STR preamp doesn't have rack gear, so you can't deliberately rack mount it. I don't know why that one's okay. That one's kind of choppy. You deliberately can't rack mount it anyway. I could rack mount the AVM 90 as well, but I'm kind of inclined just to leave it on the shelf for the moment anyway, because who knows, that could be something that could be swapped out for something else, um, before long. So a couple questions coming in. Ooh, interesting. Devin is, did you update your JVC projector firmware? So the fall firmware is supposed to come out in October. It's not quite October yet. I guess I haven't seen anything to indicate that the firmware was available. I'd have to look and see. Definitely will update when it comes out. But the original quote was October, and we're only at September 29th, so I'd be surprised if it was available yet. Julius, how much time do you have before the UPS runs out of power? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't really honestly know. I'd have to check the loading. Some of it would also depend on if like the system is in use and what's powered up at the moment, because there's a big difference in power draw. Like if we were watching something in the theater and the Mad VR is running versus when the Mad VR is off. But ultimately, for me, it doesn't matter what the total length of time is. I'm not too concerned about that because I never need it to. I never need it to go the distance. We have a whole home natural gas generator that's basically sized and able to operate our house right indefinitely when it's running. So my big thing with the UPS is I want my electronics to be able to survive with stable power. The transition between the power service power to the house dropping and the generator firing up. That transfer takes, I would say, on the order of 6 to 10 seconds, 7 to 10 seconds maybe. And I think it's a pretty rough transition as well, for the electronics. Um, so all I want is for the gear to be able to survive that. So literally, it only needs to last 10 seconds, and then power will be switched over to the generator, and the UPS will stop being the source of that power. And then when service power is restored, it's almost like an immediate transfer back, but I think the UPS still kind of protects a little bit of that load change um, and whatnot. So that's really all I need it to do. I did take some videos as well. Let me jump ahead here to the back. Yeah, so back of the rack. So we can kind of look at these. The back is looking really nice as well. There's a couple things that I still probably want to button up a little bit more. So there's the NAS up on top, and not much needed in the way of cables. I just had the power cable kind of coming through. I should double check the top of my rack and see if there's like a knockout or anything that I can just go down directly down into the rack. But we zip tied the power cable on the vents, on the top, so at least from the front and the side you can't see the power cable as much coming through there. And then this is the 10G fiber optic cable that kind of comes around through the rack and then punches back out the front and plugs into the Unify stuff. So there's all the Unify stuff on the top, the brush panel, this black cable here. That's the 10G fiber cable for the NAS. And then all these green blue, orange cables these are mostly service, like wire drops that are around the house. The other green cables on the left here are coming. This is like the AVM90, the MadVR, and the projectors Ethernet line are all run over here. Then on this side, there's a bunch of Ethernet cables jumpered over because both Apple TVs, both Stratos, and the Terra server all need Ethernet. More stuff on the other side of the rack needs Ethernet, so it's kind of all routed. The stuff on top is routed with shorter cables, and the stuff down below kind of runs up through the middle of the two racks in the junction space, and then they're just kind of all tied up together there. So yep, and then underneath there is the kind of the lower patch panel where a lot of the house infrastructure stuff is ran into, and then the Dream Machine, and then the cable modem. This looping HDMI. This is the HDMI cable that's running between the output of the AVM90 and the input of the MadVR. This is my cable service line because we use the Unify cable modem. Works great. So again, we got the strips over here on the right, so everything's kind of plugged into the strips. The strips go down and they extend the watt box. There's the back of the MadVR. So HDMI input from the 90, and then the long RUI Pro fiber optic. It's an HDMI 2.1 fully rated 48G cable, 65-foot length, Ethernet, and then power, and then the remote control connections and stuff. Directly under that, the AVM90. So only two sources in the theater, two items HDMI'd into the AVM90, just the Apple TV and the Strato, the dedicated Strato for the theater room. Of course, all the amp connections and subwoofer lines are all XLR using 15 channels, so 11 channels of speakers and 4 subwoofers. I do have the second line output here. Oh, excuse me. So I'm using both outputs of the 90 right now. Main output goes to the MadVR. That goes to the input one on the projector. That's the one that we generally use. But if I want to do any kind of other playing around, testing, comparison, something, I have a second HDMI cable going to the second input of the projector. So that completely bypasses the MadVR. So that works fine if and when I need it. So yeah, unfortunately, RUI Pro, they make like 50, I think they're 50-foot and then 65-foot. And I swear I need like a 52-foot cable. So kind of a bummer. Because I've got like an extra 10 feet of cable kind of spooled up here and just kind of tied up. But you can see the back of the NEDs. So they're both kind of the same. The upper one's a little more obscured. But again, all these XLR inputs coming in. And then I do have the LCR Utopias biamped. So I have Y cables for that. So the upper half of the biamp is on one of the NED M28s, and the lower half of the biamp is on the other one. And then that's paired with one of the M28s has the 3 upper biamps and then the 4 bed layer speakers. The other one has the 3 LCR lower biamp section, and then the 4 overhead. So all the speaker wire coming in, this is all tied up nice and clean, like the different speaker wires from the different speaker positions kind of kept together, locked in together. I use this Velcro stuff. This is kind of my favorite way of doing this. I bought a long time ago, I bought a couple of them, like these big thick straps, big spools, round spools of Velcro. And you can just cut it with scissors, and I cut the sizes that I need. Sometimes I cut thinner strips. Sometimes I use the whole, like whatever it is, 1.5 inch wide strip. So it works out great. And then that, of course, everything punches through the wall that it needs to there over to get into the theater. So this is the subwoofer cables coming in. One of them, I kind of screwed up a little bit on the wire length. So there's a little bit of a blip of some extra wire length there. It's just a matter of, I think, how I pulled it and how it tensioned together. The light blue green is those HDMI cables. This black one, this is the projector's Ethernet cable. It junctions into the green one to get all the way to the top of the rack. And then the speaker cable. So this is all monoprice speaker cable, 100% copper, OFC, 14 gauge for the overheads in the bed layer speakers, the surround bed layer speakers, and then 12 gauge. This is the 12 gauge lines for the LCRs. Yeah, so that's the one half of the rack, and at this point, it's pretty well set. We did a bunch of optimization of the network stuff. Validated everything on like the Ubiquiti setup, the ports, the IP addresses, stuff like that. So that worked great. Let's hit a couple comments, and then I have the video kind of go down to the left side. High Finance 33. Whoa, what do you think about swapping the AVM 92? I'm working on potentially being able to learn more with like Trinoff ultimately. So I don't think that needs to necessarily be a secret. I'd like to be able to offer it. I'd like to be able to learn more about it, like how I've kind of like done a lot with Kaleidoscape, and I've done. I'm a certified product specialist with ManVR, so not that's what I'm working towards anyway. But I'm not necessarily in any hurry, and I'm not under any like specific duress to like change out the AVM 90. I still think the AVM 90 is like the absolute best buy in audio gear. But a lot of people respect the heck out of Trinoff. It's the pinnacle of the audio processing in our hobby, and so working on some things. I might have more to say coming up on that as certain things continue to evolve in the background. That's not a brand that like I just like that you just kind of like implement or like pick up and offer as a dealer, as an integrator, and support and stuff like that. There's want to make sure that I don't want to do anything unless I'm like really a specialist with it. Debanus, will you consider Ubiquiti's Ethernet surge protector? I haven't. I think I'm happy with the Wattbox stuff as I have it. So the 820s are all of the surge protection, power line conditioning, stuff like that, and then the UPS manages everything there. What I do need to get done around the house though is we do have surge protection, or we had on our actual like electrical service boxes, but that I think those have degraded, and I don't think they're actually protecting the house anymore. So need to get that taken care of sometime. Julie says your house generator. Yep, it's natural gas. That is correct. How much did it cost? So we put it in when we built the house. So technically, like we're still paying for it, as we still have a mortgage that we're looking to kill off. Gosh, I don't remember. So we bought it 13 years ago with the house. But I want to say that if you were to buy a generator, it's large capacity, full size, like literally when that thing runs, power goes out and that thing runs, like nothing changes inside the house. We do whatever we want to do. You run the heat, you run the HVAC, run the AC, the refrigerators, we watch movies, like it doesn't matter. We live inside off of that generator like we had full-blown electrical service. It's amazing. God, I don't know. I want to say maybe a few. It's at least a few grand, maybe closer to several grand to get it done. My parents had one put in not that long ago as well. They have a smaller like townhouse, 2-bedroom townhouse, and I think they probably paid close to what we paid for the big house unit a decade ago, just because of price increases and stuff like that. So I think even for a modest home, installed all that stuff, natural gas generator, service access to the gas and things, you're probably looking at several grand. Steven saying you can kill a few birds with one stone if you get the whole home battery backup. Oh yeah, I'd love that too. The UPS, we'll see. The UPS could be a stopgap actually. I've wanted to look into that, and I did actually ask Cummins. So our generator, it's a Cummins engine, and Cummins services it. But I'm very interested to try to get a battery to be able to hold the whole house over that transfer. I think that would be great. Steven saying Trinoff is awesome. Yep, yeah, I think it definitely has its merits, and I love the look of the new stuff that they announced at I'm sorry, at CEDIA, the CI looking model, and I think the improvements coming to the software, the usability and stuff like that. I think that's all pretty exciting stuff. So High Finest, what's missing from your previous exploration? I don't think my early my early exploration with Trinoff on the channel was like so short-lived and very, very incomplete. It wasn't unsupported. My thesis from those very early videos was basically like, wow, to use this thing very effectively, like you got to have a pro. You need to have a pro or somebody that really knows the thing, kind of supporting you or managing, or you got to make sure that you're going to put the time in yourself to get something out of it. Um, to maximize it, whatever. And I think it had a couple of like little usability rough edges and stuff like that. I think that's where the Anthem really excels, and something that I like. I like really strong, functional, capable, and easily to understand UIs. Um, and I think that's the direction that they've gone in. Trinoff has gone in with like the newer software that's planned and some of the design goals for the CI model and stuff. So, and then yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any like audible memory frame of reference to even say like how did the Trinoff sound in here? Like my system was completely different then. It was actually two iterations different. I had different subs. I had two iterations of speakers ago in some locations. I didn't have the acoustically transparent screen. That was way back, I think, when I still had the floor standers, the Focal Electras, and all that stuff. Um, so anything that I had to say about it is really almost kind of defunct nowadays. I need to start over with any opinions and opportunities. Some ways I've almost debated like taking those old videos down. I probably will at some point. Just Keeper and audio has sync problems. Yeah, it's not a problem necessarily. Yeah, it even says right here. It's just a longer delay. For whatever reason, that device tends to go silent longer before it kind of fully locks in and is ready to present the audio when it's playing. So hopefully that's one of the design goals that they work to improve in the new software. Oop, I don't want to click there. Where am I? Okay, let's go back in here. Boom. All right. So this is the other half of the rack. So kind of yeah, I lifted the camera up in here, so you can kind of see what that Apple TV shelf looks like in the back. So again, it's nice. It doesn't need to be this deep, but I did kind of. It gives you some space to wrap up the longer power cable of the Apple TV. So I appreciate so much that the small box of the Apple TV actually has an integrated power supply rather than an external brick. Um, so anyway, each Apple TV has an HDMI connection. There's no HDMI. This is the one that will serve the living room. Right now, I don't even have it wired in. I'm actually dewiring the living room right now. But the theater side is connected, but it's powered and it's connected on the network as well. Then underneath that, we got a blank and then the Stratos. So again, both Strato E's. all the Kaleidoscapes, all the smaller Kaleidoscape equipment has power bricks. So power brick for each Strato, a power brick for the smaller Terra. So I love this thing. This is a shelf blank. So I didn't buy that. I didn't get that new specifically for this setup. Um, uh, I had that already here for a little while, but it's so good. It's perfect for this. When you have multiple devices, like all of which have power bricks, the power bricks have to go somewhere, but you don't want it to be exposed. So it's a shelf with a blank panel, a solid panel in front. So it looks like a blank from the front of the rack, but it gives you the extra shelf in the back of the rack. So I just have all three of these power bricks rested on here, and then I have like shorter connected power cables from the brick to the power strip. And I left the top plug open if and when likely after the living room is done. I think we will try to bring the PC back downstairs, set it up on top of the rack. And so I left the top plug open for the PC to plug into on the very top. Come to think of it, I might need to move all the plugs down one. I may need to leave two plugs open at the top because not only does the PC have to plug in, but I believe the USB over CAT, USB over Ethernet extender boxes have to be powered on one side at least, and I would probably power them on what would be the source side or the PC side, so that power brick is down in the rack. So I have to remember that. I might have to move. I think I have the slack, so it shouldn't be a problem. But I may have to move each of these plugs down a plug. And again, I've got plenty of them over there. So there's this bracket here. All of these white lines, these are all. This is the speaker cable for the multi-zone, the whole home audio stuff. This braided cable here, this black and like copper color. Um, that's the optical audio cable that's currently running from behind the TV down to the rack, because I go optical audio out of the television down to the STR. And then these are just a couple of extra cat lines that are doing stuff like the relays for Control 4 that control our garage, IR extension from the living room, stuff like that. So, okay, good. I do have one more plug here. If I move all these other plugs down, hopefully the cable lengths that I have reach without a problem. I might have to get a couple more power cables, but in any case, so here, this little bundle of green cables. So this is mostly like Ethernet lines that are going to all of the networked equipment that's on this side of the rack down towards the bottom. Here's the STR. These two lines right here, these two black lines kind of Velcro together at a couple points. That's the HDMI cables that are coming from the Apple TV and the Strato to the AVM90 for the theater. I didn't want to route them like up against the power strips, so I kind of just let them fall in the open. So this looks real clean because, like, again, nothing's kind of wired in. I just did power and Ethernet and stuff where available, but there's nothing plugged in. So the jury's still open a little bit on how exactly I'm going to amp the Utopia and the subwoofer combination, but I'm leaning back, I think, towards the idea of using the speak-on connection to make a single full-range speaker out of the Utopia Speaker Plus sub, and then bridging the M23. I know I've had some discussions with some folks in the comments of some of the videos as well. I think the load will be okay, especially relative to how loud we ever usually play things in the living room. But we'll see. That would also be it's the least cable intensive way to do it, because I would just need one XLR from the STR to one amp, and then one from the STR to the other amp. No matter what, though, when we get to the cable pulling, hopefully this coming weekend, I am going to pull 3 lines of speaker wire to each speaker location in the living room. And then that gives me the flexibility to have the wire for anything from one bridged amp monoblock to the full range combined speaker, all the way to biamp the Focal Utopia and separately amp the subwoofer module if for some crazy reason I wanted to change out the dual M23s for another M28 or something in between. I need to experiment and see. So I did use the power cables that came with these. They're routed together and down, and then down to the one watt box that's plugged into the wall. And here's this kind of like bundle of Ethernet cables snaking off to all these different things. This is the Control 4 controller. So that's the Core 5 now. So it has a couple different things connected. This is my garage doors relays. And then this is for the whole house audio. So the Control 4 presents 8 different AirPlay targets, virtual AirPlay targets in the 8 rooms where there's zone audio available. And we just grab our phones and AirPlay to those zones. And so we can only use, I think, up to 4 of them at a time, because there's 2 coax audio cables and then 2 RCA stereo cables. But we never need more than 1 or 2 anyway. So those wire into the MDX. So there's the MDX. Again, multiple inputs, coax, stereo, and then all of the zone audio is wired in with those like Phoenix style connectors. 8 amps, 8 zones. Love that piece of gear. There's our UMA. So still maintain a digital phone landline. That's wired together. This barely made it. The one Ethernet cable, like it was actually kind of like hanging on that cable a little bit, because that was something that got dropped down in the rack from where it was before. And then there they are, the back of the 2 watt boxes. hefty duty stuff, man. Big, thick power cables for these 20 amp models. Of course, the plugs have the T shape and support 20 amp all the way through. These are networked. I haven't actually. I had my prior Wattbox is configured in my Oversee account, and that's something that I never even got finally to like accessing Oversee and checking it out. I want to make a video about it, kind of showing it off, what it can do, and stuff like that. So I got to have Dan reconnect these guys to my Control 4 now, and then finally do something with Oversee. But I need to log into these as well. Actually, I haven't done that. I need to log into these in the web API, make sure their firmware updated, and name the outlets and stuff like that. But in any case, so the top one again, top one's plugged into the wall. These are the two M28s. These are the two M23s, and this is the MDX. So all of the amplifiers um, plugged into that one, and then this one is plugged into the UPS down here. And then the UPS's plug goes into the wall, and then we've got the strip one, strip two, and then the extension power cable that comes from. There's the other way around: strip, and then the one furthest to the left is there's an outlet behind the television upstairs, and then that runs down to the rack. So that's basically ground connected to the same power delivery. UPS is big. You can see how big honking this thing is. It comes all the way back. Big unit, very deep, fits in the rack. It's got these. It's got rear rack rails as well. The only piece of equipment that I have that has rear rack rails, in addition to front rack rails, to make sure that it gets held and secured fully and properly. So yeah, so some of this stuff just hanging. This is stuff that's coming out. So I'm rewiring everything from the rack to behind the television, except for the Ethernet drops. I'll keep the same 4 Ethernet drops available up there. The power extension outlet will stay the same, but I'm going to take out the existing HDMI cables and put in those removable, adjustable tip RUI Pro cables. I will leave the optical audio cable because I would presume that I will continue to end up using that. Um, so long as I don't have any HDMI switching or capability in the audio preamp for the basement, I'm sorry, for the living room setup, I will continue. Then I'll run discrete. I'll use discrete HDMI, long HDMI lines for the Apple TV and the Kaleidoscape. The switch will stay upstairs. The PC will come down, discrete long line for the PC, and then they'll all plug into the television, occupy all 4 ports. But I figure if I ever make a system change where the STR comes out and something replaces it, hopefully whatever replaces it has eARC support and maybe at least a couple of HDMI ports, because then I would run I'd run the Apple TV and the Kaleidoscape into that, let it switch those 2 sources, and then run that to the TV on the eARC HDMI input, and then just run the game system still discreetly to the TV, and then the audio can come back on eARC, and I wouldn't need the optical connection. So one thing I was actually considering, if I were to somehow change the audio out uh, and actually put a trin off or something in for the theater, I might replace that. I might sell the STR and move the 90 into the living room. I know I don't need as much of that capability, but I think these 2 devices are very, very similar in audible quality. Um, and but the 90 over the STR would give me a web interface that I can actually access. The STR has no web interface, and it would give me that HDMI switching capability. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what transpires with that going forward. But I've got some options, and again, no real requirement or push to get there. So we'll take it slow and take it kind of organically as we go. High Fine is saying, if you get a turn off, got to get the base modules for the Utopias for waveforming. The base modules. I'm not sure what base modules do they. Like I said, I haven't looked at the full lineup. That sounds like a subwoofer speaker, or you're saying I just need more subwoofers. Oh no, no, okay, I'm thinking of a Trinoff product. You're talking about the subwoofer pieces for the Utopias. Yeah, yeah, that could be something actually. And actually, I could probably even support it right now with the scope screen. I don't have enough height to do the subwoofer modules above or below the Utopia speaker. But if I were to change this screen out and move it up, I'd have the extra height to be able to do that. Probably I could toss a base module on each one of those. That could be pretty cool. Yeah, more subs for waveforming. Yeah, always options and stuff. But again, that's we'll see. We'll see where that ends up going, and if I have more to kind of say and announce on it in coming up. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at. So again, we started demo. I'm actually going to log off here, go grab dinner with my son, and then I got to get back to um, taking stuff out of the living room setup. I was actually already starting to film a bit, so I had the triad. The triad subwoofers are out. So just before the live stream, I was started and pulled the subwoofers and the speakers out. I didn't really have much time to do much of anything. So the TV's still hooked up, still hanging there. So I need some help with the family for that. We'll pull the TV down tonight and pull all the wiring out, take the brackets and the on-wall adapters and holding brackets and stuff all off, pull a bunch of that stuff out, get the TV down, move it over into the foyer, and then pull the TV mount itself down as well. And then we're ready to go for tomorrow. So um I think I have a line. I think I have a path towards let's say some stronger collaboration with LG as well. So very likely I'm not going to do a TV change in the immediate term. I think I'm going to end up probably waiting um, until the 2026 models come, and there's like a new like there's basically like a cycle opportunity to take advantage of that will make it very potentially very feasible to go with for me to go with a 97-inch LG OLED. So we'll see what happens with that. Maybe more to come on that opportunity and partnership as we go. I just had some very early discussion about it, and but it was a very fruitful and positive one. So we may be sitting on the 83 G2 for a little while, given where we are in the year and the TV cycle. But yeah, it continues. So my plan is so vlog 2. I think I'll probably try to post vlog 2 on Wednesday. I'm gonna have my son edit that actually. I'll have a video coming on the more detailed on the Wattbox 820. Probably have that maybe by the end of the week as well. And my daughter edit that one. And then we'll be filming the demo vlog through the course of this week. That'll be vlog 3. Vlog 4 will probably be the rewiring effort. I already have the cables as well from RUI Pro. So I got a handful of those 12-meter removable tip fiber optic cables. So that'll be vlog 4. Buttoning stuff up. The construction elements will probably be 5. And then, yeah, and then we'll be installing. We'll be back to installing, get those Utopias in and get the system fired back up. And then building towards probably a fall, probably a November. I hope to host like a get together, home theater meetup kind of get together in November. So should be fun. Any last comments, questions? I'll give it just a second here for stuff to pop in. We're at the top of the hour. And yeah, I gotta get back to work. Finished up one job, doing another job, and got more work to do this evening. So try and get that all taken care of, and then still spend some time with the boy and the family, playing some games and doing some stuff. We're making some pretty cool Marvel Champions runs. right now. That's where in my spare time, I'd love to actually start a couple of other YouTube channels, but I just don't have the wherewithal to do it. I'd love to do like a card gaming, board gaming channel and record games with my son and put them up um, in the Marvel Champions community and stuff like that. But man, there's already enough things to do. So I'm going to leave it there. Thanks everybody for coming out. I hope it was interesting. Hopefully, again, my main hope is that either like sharing all this stuff kind of about the projects, the way I'm going about things, the thought process, some of the gotchas and the elements that didn't work out, right? Hopefully this helps people out, guides their projects, gives you some inspiration, helps you avoid a pitfall or two, and makes whatever you may be planning in your system better. If I can do that more directly, I'm always happy to do that as well. Please reach out, email me, jeremy@techthusiasm.net, or you can go to www.techthusiasm.com. Dealer information is there, carrying all these brands, a lot of the stuff that I talk about, plus a whole lot more, plus adding more. Again, as we speak, wheels are turning, business opportunities are being engaged and discussed and negotiated and figured out. So it's so much fun working with folks, talking with folks, getting folks hooked up with stuff. And again, out of this project and some other engagements that I have, I'm going to have a variety of equipment, used stuff available. So already, I could already start selling things now, actually. Some of the Wattbox equipment that came out to make way for the kind of the Wattbox side grade. The Focal speakers in the living room are ready for a new home. The Triad subs and the rack amps are ready for a new home. So if anybody's interested in any of that stuff, please email me as well. I've also got some, at least one line on a potentially like a trade-in, a used Kaleidoscape player, Strato V. So good prices on all of that stuff. Just want to get it moved, get it out of here, because as soon as all of this project is done and settled, and it's cleanup and purge time in that storage room and all of that equipment. So again, happy to help. If you want to help me some other ways, always appreciated. There's the affiliate links in all the descriptions: Amazon, Audio Advice, Crutchfield, Walmart, Target, eBay, apparel stores, and so on. You can get to them in any of the content. You can get to them on my webpage as well. Please click them, use them. It's amazing how little engagement that stuff gets for just how simply valuable it is, and it doesn't cost anybody anything other than a couple seconds of their time to get to it. So if you use it, you got to use it every time you shop. The allocation periods, the attribution phases, periods for affiliate links is like it is dwindling by the day. So if you don't, if you click on, and not just for me, but anybody that you want to support with an affiliate link nowadays, if you don't click it, add to cart and buy the stuff, and you leave it to come back later, we're probably not getting the hit or the value or anything out of it. So please make sure to use the links actively when you're ready to add to cart and check your stuff out. Again, definitely welcome channel members and all of that, and looking forward to engaging with everybody in the comments of the coming content. In October, we're not quite there yet, but I mean, we're already well underway, but October is this rebuild month. And then after that, it'll be exciting to do like a final tour. It's been like 2 years since the last living room detailed tour video. And we'll see where we go from there. We're talking screens, might be talking Trinoff, might be talking some other stuff. So never ends. Always new things to enjoy and engage and tinker around with. So check out Bad Guys, love it. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Oh, I should announce as well, one final announcement. I am setting up in October for some more guests too. So we'll see some brand guests coming to talk about some of the things that I'm doing and that I'm using. Planning to have folks from Focal on, maybe like mid-October, talk about these Utopia speakers and architectural speakers and the stuff that they're going on, a little bit more of their direct kind of feedback and detail about how we're using them and what they're capable of, stuff like that. So Mondays at 5:00, we're set up here for a while. Thanks again. Talk to everybody next week. Coming back for more home theater discussion and fun, and see you in the comments. Bye.